Yeah, I know. And see, that's the thing. It's like, now, would you want to move around the world lugging CDs?
No.
DVDs?
No.
Of course not. So then all of a sudden, hard drives are what you need. You need to have hard drives in order to even take your collection with you.
Right. I'm seriously contemplating before we move to our next location to take 2 weeks and go and empty out our storage unit and get rid of all of that stuff that we don't need, that we've been paying hundreds of dollars a month for since we left. So we could save some money, but also, why are we keeping all of the CDs and the DVDs and the Blu-rays, and why do we need all that? We don't even have a way to play them.
You're saying, well, that's not true. I do. I can play them right now.
But I
can play Blu-rays.
VHS.
But are you gonna lug them around the world?
Okay, that's not the question.
But
they're in storage. That's not the question. The question is not would you lug them around the world. The question is, do you want to keep them?
But
like
why?
all the albums that your grandfather gave me.
Well, we wouldn't get rid of
Well,
that.
why are they different? You see? You're making a distinction like
Because
it's
those
like,
things you can't-
those 78s, those are important. But those LPs, not so much. But those CDs, throw that shit out. No, hell no. It doesn't work that way.
Throw it away.
Well, I'm saying that's what you're saying. I mean, you're trying to say one is more historically relevant than the other. And what I'm saying is they're all historically relevant. It's just a matter of time.
An ability to use.
No, even just having the CD of He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, and the LP of He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, and the cassette of He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper. You have 3 different albums there.
Yeah.
They are not the same thing. And it's one of the first times that happened, where the different medium meant something different to the person buying it. Now, don't you call that historically relevant? See, now you're talking about history. You're not just
But
talking...
do we need to pay for history every month?
Maybe if you find a cheaper storage, like cheaper way to store. But do we need to keep it? Yeah. How is it different than the pictures that you took? The photos that you have? It's not. It is the record of your existence.
I wish I had all those digital.
That's nice. You're saying you wish you had a digital, but that's not the. But that picture, my Polaroids of when I was taking those photos way back, I can see them in my head. From the Philadelphia Zoo and from my bedroom, and I'm taking those photos. Those photos have relevance.
I didn't say your photos were irrelevant.
No, I'm saying all of these things have relevance.
Saying get rid of them.
Yeah, just
I
like
never
okay.
said get rid of
look,
photos.
no,
Not
we're not.
specifically
God damn
photos.
it, Karen.
I'm saying we have an entire storage unit of things that we don't use, that we're not going to use.
I know, but
it's not
what is
about
use? What is use
We
for
have.
things that you're keeping
We aren't
for
planning
history?
on going back.
Okay, but
So why-
what would you get rid of?
The boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of papers that we have.
I know, but some of those papers we need, right?
Not anymore. We don't. It's been 10 years. We don't have to keep them anymore.
Okay. I mean, I don't have any problem. I mean, there's some papers, of course, you don't need, but we don't have that many boxes of papers. We really don't.
We have boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of books.
See? Now you want to get rid of those things?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think I want to get
So
rid
I
of
mean,
books,
you see my point. That
But you'd be fine with getting rid of all those CDs, all those VHS
I didn't say anything about
tapes.
CDs. I said DVDs.
Why
Blu-rays,
DVDs?
VHS.
It's the same thing.
You're
Because you can
saying
get
that-
all those things digitally.
No, but that's... You just went in a big ass circle.
No, I don't think you need them. Get rid of them.
I know, you just went in a big ass circle because we just talked about the idea that those things have relevance. They have relevance in this grand scheme of things.
That 480p
They actually
goodness,
have.
man.
They have relevance.
You want to watch the 480p version?
No, it's not about using it.
It's not about watching it. It's about your grandkids.
My
Your
grandkids are not going to watch
great-grandkids.
it either.
But the fact that you have them, like those 78s. Those 78s are important and relevant because they're 78s.
If we got
You
rid
couldn't
of
buy a
it,
78 today that wasn't, say, at a yard sale or in the back corner of some record shop. You don't get 78s. I mean, it doesn't even matter who it is. You may never. Most record players don't have a 78 setting anymore. You got 33 and you got 45. There is no 78 on there. Okay? But the fact that this thing says Nat King Cole on it
With
and
his
it's
signature.
a 78, oh God, why are you getting rid of this?
If you got rid
You see?
of all
Now,
the
you can
things
say
from
the exact
past,
same thing about that Melba Moore album that's on CD. Literally, the exact same thing. Because in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, it has value.
But I'm going to be paying for it for 20 years,
No,
30 years, 40 years.
you're not understanding. You keep equating the relevancy of the item with storage fees. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying that we shouldn't maybe move it somewhere else where it's cheaper to store it there. Fine. But that still does not mean get rid of it. Because those things have relevance. And maybe when, you're older and grayer, you can donate them to some museum or something. But they have historical relevance. They're going to be taken care of. Just like I always have in my brain the woman that my mom knew that had newspapers. Her walls were newspapers. You could not see the walls of her house. They were newspapers. Stacked from floor to ceiling. All over. She had newspapers going back to before I think she was born. And when she died, all of them went to... And then you're talking about paper. You're talking about paper sitting in someone's home. Just sitting there. Paper,
Hoarder.
books. It's not hoarding. She was a librarian, I think. She kept it as a historical record. You could walk in her house and get at information that libraries didn't have. And then I think they took all of those things and sent them to, I believe, one of the black colleges so that it would augment their research, their department in their library. But you gotta have that. You gotta have people that save that kind of stuff. And we used to look to libraries for stuff like that. And they got the same problem we do right now. Paying for storage, paying for a place to put it. But I don't think that means that the stuff's not relevant. It is relevant. That printer over there is relevant. The idea that you're just going to take it and be like, this is no good. It's like, no. Maybe you don't ever use it again, but it's just the fact that it's there, available, that someone can see it and understand it and see where we were technologically 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I mean, think about how people marvel at typewriters now. You know what I mean? Just the fact that they exist and the number of people that can even repair them is minuscule in the world now. And most of our technology is not repairable. Not by human hands, because it's all too small. You're not going to repair an iPad necessarily. You could replace a screen and all that kind of stuff. But actual repairs, you're not busting it open and getting down to the nitty gritty and making it work again and all that. No. There is something about our current version of a throwaway society that is killing us. One, because we're wasting so many resources to make the things in the first place, and then we're throwing it away, and now it's just sitting in landfills.
There's that, but then there's, that was a culture.
Right.
I'm not
snapshot
saying
of
throw it.
time.
Oh, I didn't say throw it away.
Well, you're saying get rid. What is get rid other than throw it away?
Donate it, sell it, give it away. Just because.
Some things, sure. There are some things that you could do that with, but there are other things that are specific to you. There were choices that you made that may not be relevant to anybody else. You know? Like, you take my CD collection all by itself. Just my CD collection, which is not super big. But it's enough. I mean, there's a lot there. You take my CD collection, that's a statement about me. From a time to a time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's a time where basically all CDs stop.
Right.
And that might not mean anything
But
to anybody else.
But the idea that, there was a time when these, that this collection begins and it ended, and that, trust me, you think people thought all them albums that they had, them wax albums, was all no good back in the 80s, 90s. As soon as CDs came out, it was throw them out, get them out of here, clean up the thing, and all them yard sales with all them albums. I used to see them all the time. I don't know why I saw so many yard sales, but they were there. And then it all came back, and people started buying record players again, and people started listening to them, and people started realizing that they were better than the CDs that they were listening to of the exact same thing. And now it's all back. It's all back. And now people want to take the album, put it on the record player, and record that digitally.
Yeah.
They don't want the CD version of that thing, because it doesn't sound as good.
I mean, even like games have vinyl albums
Yep.
of the soundtrack,
The soundtracks.
like Cuphead and Doom Eternal and a bunch of other games and stuff like that. I mean, some of the music YouTubers have their whole albums on vinyl things.
So I have no problem with not paying for storage. I have no problem with getting the stuff out of there. I have no problem with maybe donating what can be donated, but there are some things that we have that basically is kind of the idea. I mean, think of it this way. Think of rich people. Rich people don't usually build entire collections.
Buy a collection.
No. The collection's passed down from person to person to person over generations. And that's where the value is. That's where it's worth something. Is the fact that my grandfather bought this thing. My great-grandfather bought this thing. That's why and we don't have the generational wealth, the generational assets, the things that get passed down to seed the next generation in their stuff. And we have to do that. And if we keep throwing everything away, especially today, if we keep doing that, we'll never have it. You have to start thinking about 100 years from now.
Things aren't made now to last that long.
But they can be. Like, they can last.
Right.
Your books that you have today can last. All the other books lasted. Of course your books can last. And you can take your books.
Those books are made better.
And you can take your books today and have new covers put on them. If, say, that's the thing that was falling apart and blah, 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 blah. If you have a CD, yeah, I'm sure at some point, at some time in the future, people will be listening to CDs again as looking at them like, oh my God, this is what people did.
The retro.
The Walkman. the disc man. See, the problem with tapes is tapes last for quite a long time, but eventually they just disappear.
Right,
The tape is fine, but the information on it just kind of whoop is gone. So basically, yes, you can do it, but a lot of the tapes that we all had, it doesn't really matter how you store them, they're basically gonna go bad. It's like all the films that are essentially just even disintegration of the medium itself. Right. That's all happening, so that's why they're trying to digitize everything. And that makes total sense. I mean, you're not going to keep the celluloid.
No.
It's just not feasible. But some of the stuff, grooves and wax, you don't mess with it, it's just going to sit there.
Yeah.
If you don't destroy it, it's just going to be there, waiting for a needle. And we have to pass those things on, or they will get lost. All of it. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, one of my biggest things is the magazines that I have. Now granted, it's paper but some of that stuff, some of it went to libraries and you might be able to find it here or there. But there are a lot of those things that were not super remarkable, right?
Right.
And maybe they weren't remarkable when that story was written back in that time. But all of a sudden it becomes remarkable because of something else that happened 30, 40 years later. I mean, that's the history. That's what we're looking for. When we do research, we're looking for those things. Remember, we would have shit on microfiche.
Yep.
They don't even know what microfiche is. They don't have a concept of that. And remember, microfiche has got to get kept too. All they did was take a whole lot of stuff and make it small. But the idea of having it, being able to pull it up and put it out again, and look at it, keep it, go through it, learn from it. See, if we keep wiping away, and see this time. This is where we are now, where people are literally have a button, delete, 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 have little trash cans, and they're putting stuff in it, except for the important stuff that they share on Facebook that makes them look like idiots. But they're wiping away history. And that's why all the artwork, I tell you to keep it, find a way to store it, make it safe, and then store it, because it just kind of needs to get compiled. It needs to be kept. It's important. You got anything else for the people?
No.
You got anything for the people?
Is that your last thing?
Yep. I'm done. 2 hours. That's right. It's 12:06, baby. See, now the timing is in my head now.
All right.
You good?
Go to the paper.
You good?
Yep.
The paper time? If you want to follow the Traveling Farrs, you can find us on the YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes, Spotify, or the Google Podcasts, or any place that podcasts are being listened to.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
The Traveling Farrs. If you like the Instagram and the Twitters, Traveling Farrs. If you want to email us, which we always listen to your emails, so we read every email that comes in.
I do.
travelingfars@gmail.com, and the blog space, where Karen's going to put book lists.
Yeah, I'll create a book list.
The travelingfars.blueberry.net. No E's in the blueberry. There you go. And if you want to check out the Aaron's Game Chat, go to Aaron's Game Chat
on Instagram and Facebook.
There you go. Say goodbye to the people.
Bye, people.
Peace! Bye.